Mastering KPI monitoring strategies. Alignment is everything, or excellence is nothing. Where do the organization's overall goals and objectives align, and how do they specifically contribute to achieving operational excellence within its overall strategy? Operational excellence is a critical aspect of an organization's overall strategy, and it requires a structured approach to monitoring and measuring performance. A well-defined KPI monitoring strategy is essential to achieving operational excellence, as it enables organizations to track progress, identify areas for improvement, and make data-driven decisions. To achieve operational excellence, organizations must first establish clear goals and objectives that align with their overall strategy. This involves defining what operational excellence means to the organization, identifying the key processes that drive performance, and establishing specific, measurable targets for improvement. Once the organization's overall goals and objectives are established, the next step is to develop a comprehensive KPI monitoring strategy that aligns with these goals. This involves identifying the key performance indicators, KPIs, that will be used to measure performance, establishing targets for each KPI, and defining the data collection and reporting processes that will be used to track progress. Effective KPI monitoring is critical to achieving operational excellence, as it provides organizations with the insights they need to identify areas for improvement, optimize processes, and drive continuous improvement. However, many organizations struggle to develop an effective KPI monitoring strategy, often because they lack the necessary tools, resources, or expertise. To overcome these challenges, organizations should consider the following best practices for developing an effective KPI monitoring strategy. 1. Establish clear goals and objectives. The first step in developing an effective KPI monitoring strategy is to establish clear goals and objectives that align with the organization's overall strategy. This involves defining what operational excellence means to the organization, identifying the key processes that drive performance, and establishing specific, measurable targets for improvement. 2. Identify relevant KPIs. The next step is to identify the KPIs that will be used to measure performance. These KPIs should be relevant to the organization's goals and objectives, and they should be measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, SMART. 3. Establish targets and benchmarks. Once the KPIs have been identified, the next step is to establish targets and benchmarks for each KPI. These targets and benchmarks should be challenging yet achievable, and they should be based on industry best practices, regulatory requirements, or other relevant standards. 4. Develop a data collection and reporting process. The next step is to develop a data collection and reporting process that enables the organization to track progress against its KPIs. This process should be efficient, effective, and reliable, and it should provide timely and accurate insights into performance. 5. Analyze and act on insights. The final step is to analyze the insights provided by the KPI monitoring process and take corrective action to address areas for improvement. This involves identifying opportunities for improvement, developing and implementing improvement initiatives, and tracking the effectiveness of these initiatives. In addition to these best practices, organizations should also consider the following key principles when developing an effective KPI monitoring strategy. 1. Focus on outcomes, not outputs. Rather than focusing on what the organization is doing, the KPI monitoring strategy should focus on the outcomes or results that are desired. 2. Prioritize KPIs. Not all KPIs are created equal. The organization should prioritize its KPIs based on their relevance to the organization's goals and objectives, and their potential impact on performance. 3. Use leading indicators. Leading indicators are KPIs that predict future performance. They are often more effective than lagging indicators, which measure past performance. 4. Ensure data quality. The accuracy, completeness, and reliability of the data used to measure KPIs are critical to the effectiveness of the KPI monitoring strategy. 5. Use benchmarking. Benchmarking involves comparing the organization's performance to that of its peers or industry leaders. It can be an effective way to establish targets and benchmarks for KPIs. 6. Use data visualization. Data visualization involves using charts, graphs, and other visual aids to communicate complex data insights. It can be an effective way to communicate KPI performance to stakeholders. 7. Establish accountability. The KPI monitoring strategy should establish clear accountability for performance. This involves identifying the individuals or teams responsible for achieving each KPI target. 8. Foster a culture of continuous improvement. The KPI monitoring strategy should foster a culture of continuous improvement within the organization. This involves encouraging employees to identify areas for improvement and develop and implement improvement initiatives. By following these best practices and key principles, organizations can develop an effective KPI monitoring strategy that aligns with their overall goals and objectives and drives operational excellence.